From the air, northeastern Congo looks green and idyllic, even peaceful. But it belies the reality on the ground. We're travelling with UN humanitarian coordinator John Holmes to the village of Nyangara, a small and remote place in the DRC's Ituri district, which borders Uganda. The UN have come to investigate allegations of recent attacks by Ugandan LRA rebels. The group of people waiting to welcome the UN aren't holding up welcome messages, but signs saying displaced by war. Nyangara is one of the places most affected by LRA attacks.
We are hungry here, and we don't have any proper housing.
The LRA, or Lord's Resistance Army, have waged war against Uganda's government since the 1980s. Their leader, Joseph Kony, seen here in a rare moment captured on camera when he agreed to come out of the bush and negotiate almost 5 years ago, wants to rule Uganda by the 10 Commandments and secure more rights for the Acholi people of northern Uganda. But for the most part of the war, the Acholi suffered most. The LRA are notorious for abducting children and turning them into soldiers and sex slaves. So while the LRA was still active here, northern towns like Gulu would fill up with children at night, too scared to sleep at home. Another LRA trademark is to literally silence their victims by removing their mouths. And many in northern Uganda must live with the horrific scars of the LRA rebellion for the rest of their lives. A major offensive by the Ugandan military 5 years ago forced the LRA out of the country's north, and there have been similar offensives in the DRC since. But Kony was never arrested, and the LRA have simply been dispersed.
This dispersion is even more dangerous than before. It's enough for 10 or even 5 armed people to come into a village for them to be able to do whatever they want.
Here in Ituri, the LRA is said to have killed 400 people and abducted 400 more since December. 300,000 people have been displaced. The government initially denied some of the attacks, but here in Nyangara, people tell a different story.
Personally, I can tell you that the reality that you've been told by aid workers is true. There is tangible proof of the attacks. There are cases of people who are attacked and who were mutilated.
At the hospital run by Doctors Without Borders, Marie Mbolikundela is recovering from an attack that happened months ago. She's still traumatized, not just mentally but physically. A skin graft to replace her lips failed, so the wound still hasn't healed.
They took me to a village that's quite far away. We crossed a river and they made me go into a house and told me to lie on the ground. They asked me which direction north is. I said I don't know. They asked if there were soldiers nearby. I said no. They said don't shout. I started to pray deep within myself. They cut off my ear and my mouth and they kicked me. They were huge men and dressed in black. They used a knife and a pair of pliers to cut off my lips.
While we were in Nyangara, UN peacekeepers patrolled through the town to the cheers of the local population. But the UN aren't always here. The UN mission for Congo, or MONUC, is the organization's biggest peacekeeping mission in the world. But even with 20,000 men, they can't patrol a territory as vast as Congo, so the attacks continue. The government now wants them to start leaving this June and withdraw completely by the end of next year. The UN counters that they have to respond to security needs, not to a timetable set by the government.
From our point of view, from a humanitarian point of view, we think it's important that MONUC could stay here for a period of time. We are worried by the prospect of a rapid or premature withdrawal of MONUC, because MONUC is very important for our activities in the sense of providing stability, providing security for the humanitarians, providing protection of civilians. They have a very important role in doing that.
Among the civilian population, reactions to the proposed withdrawal are mixed.
We have to prepare our army to be professional before they go in their countries, all those who are working in MONUC organization here in our country. Why I say that? because our army is still mixed by many rebel groups, which they come from very far, and they are mixed together, and they are not really a professional army to take care of the civilian population here in our area.
The people here in Nyangara live in a difficult situation. There's little food and shelter. The displaced sleep in terrible conditions, and we are afraid. How is it possible that you send us MONUC peacekeepers? You send us the Congolese army, but when the rebels come out of the bush, there are no soldiers to stop them. They are only the civilians. And once they are here, no one does anything. They come here to take people away, and we don't know what they do with them. Could you please explain clearly to us what the MONUC are doing here? We don't care whether they stay or leave. We will die either way.
It's been 7 years since the war ended in Congo, and the country's many rebel groups were either disarmed or integrated into the new Congolese armed forces. After all these years, they haven't been able to stop rebel insurgencies, now mostly by Rwandan Hutu rebels and the LRA, even with the help of MONUC and outside armies. For the people in eastern and northern DRC, that means a life on the run. Unable to till their own fields when there are rebels nearby, they need aid organisations to feed them, even though they live in a country that's abundant in resources and, technically, at peace.